calculus, where did the 2 go? I'm looking over my professor's notes, but I have no idea how she got rid of the 2 inside the square. Okay, let's have a look. We are going to find the length of the curve given by this function, and we know t is between 0 and 1. So firstly, let's just use the formula for the r length or length of the curve. So I'm just going to write down L. This is equal to, because t is our parameter, that means we'll be in the t world. We have to integrate from 0 to 1, and you just open the square root. And what you are going to do is, look at each component, take the derivative, put it here. The derivative of this is square root of 2. And then you square that. And then next, you do the same thing. You take the derivative of this, which is e to the t, and then you square that. And then you take the derivative of this, which you get e to the negative t, but remember the chain rule, multiply by negative right here, and then you square that. And in fact, because negative square is going to be positive, so if you didn't do the chain rule, it's like, still do it anyways. All right, now let's just simplify this a little bit. This becomes the integral going from 0 to 1, square root. This is just a 2. This right here is multiply the exponents, so it's e to the 2t. And this right here, we get positive e to the negative 2t dt. Now, the question is, how did they get rid of the 2 right here in the square root, right? I know this right here is like the weird part, but this is actually, when you are doing this kind of questions, the functions has to be well dt. Now the question is, how did the professor get rid of the 2 inside of this square root? That's the hard part. And that's the hard part for doing this integral though, because if you didn't see the algebra trick right here, then u sub is not going to work out nicely. None of the things is going to work out nicely. Yeah. But I will tell you, whenever you are doing this kind of integrals, the function has to be chosen carefully so that you can do it without a calculator. Because if you just give me like a random function, most likely you cannot integrate the resulting integral. So how do we do this right here? The key right here is, this inside, it's actually a perfect square. How so though? Well, it's because we have the formula which says that if we have a squared plus 2ab plus b squared, this will give us a plus b squared. Now, if we look at the e to the 2t as e to the t and then squared, and then this right here, I'm just going to put it here as e to the negative t and then squared. Well, in the middle, in order to get a square, what do? We need a 2ab, right? This is the a, this is the b, plus 2 times the a, and then the b. And guess what? When you multiply these two terms, it's just equal to 1. So this is really the same as e to the t plus e to the negative t plus e to the negative t. And again, these two together is just equal to 1. And that's why this is that 2 right here. So all together inside, we are just going to get the integral 0 to 1 square root, parentheses, just that. And that's to the second power, by the way. So e to the t plus e to the negative t squared. Yeah, and then you might be wondering, how do we know to do this? Well, as I said, these kind of questions are like the standard questions that it's like you have to practice, so you're expected to know, or you have to sing it in the lecture first, so you will be expected to know, right? And now you can see this right here is actually very nice. Square root cancel. So we just have to integrate e to the t and e to the negative t. So integrating e to the t is just e to the t. Integrating e to the negative t, we have e to the negative t, but we will have to divide it by negative 1 because the derivative of negative t is negative 1. It's just a number. We can just divide it by it, which we need a negative. And then plugging the numbers. Plugging 1 first, we get e to the first minus e to the negative first. And then plugging 0, we will have to subtract. That's e to the 0 minus e to the negative 0. That's 1 minus another 1. So altogether here is just equal to 0. So final answer is equal to e minus, this is the same as 1 over e. So that's the answer for that. Hopefully this really helps. That's it.